Welcome back, everybody. We're going to go over the best legendaries in the game. Maybe you'll have some idea of what legendary you want to target if you're re-rolling, or you'll be happy that you've already pulled a really cool legendary. Now, just to let you know, we don't have all the information. We've played 2 different betas. I've played them both, went all the way on both of them to as far as we could get, but we don't know what in-game is truly going to be like. We can give you an idea of what these heroes do currently. We're going to go over all of them, but I'm not going to go in here and read to you every single skill that they have. I'm going to tell you what I think about that hero. I'm going to give you an idea of what they can do from this spreadsheet. Look down below in this video. You'll see this spreadsheet. If you want more information, come join us on Discord. Come have some fun and talk to all of us. We have so many guilds over here as well. Come and play the game with us. You're going to have lots of fun. At the top, Claudus has always been a great legendary hero, helping you get through the game, doing amazing damage in PvE and in PvP. She can do turn meter reduction on her moves, and she can also confuse people. When they're confused, they can attack their own allies. She does good damage because with a 3 vigor cost, she does 1,113 times 2 to all enemies out there. And then her third skill is a 5 vigor cost, of course, for 5,293 to a single target. Now, I do all the damage numbers on the test dummy. I don't do any crits. I just do the basic number. So all of this kind of gives you an idea of what they're going to do, like what damage they're going to do at in-game and who hits harder than who. But it's not all about who hits the hardest, because these people have lots of passives and lots of abilities that do buffs and debuffs and a lot of cool other stuff. So keep that in mind. Claudus is solid. If you have her, be happy about her. She definitely is S-class. Most of these legendaries are somewhere around S-class. Morgan to me is S-class only because her basic ability has the chance to proc decreased defense 2, which is 40% less defense for 2 turns, and increased damage 3, which is 80% additional damage. That's huge. If you can put on a boss a 2-turn debuff for 80% additional damage taken, I'm sure that's going to be massive. I have her. I haven't had a chance to play her yet. Her second ability for a 3 vigor cost doesn't do as much damage as Claudus, but it does do turn meter reduction, which it says it only does slow speed. You can see here 0 chance to attack speed decrease 3, which is a lot. Attack speed decrease 3 would be gigantic. I don't know the actual number, but I know it's going to be huge to slow the enemy down. I would prefer that, but right now it seems like it's doing turn meter reduction for some reason. You can see the turn meter, attack gauge decrease, which in itself is still very strong. AoE attack gauge decrease is extremely strong. So being that she has this passive right here, to 100% chance to decrease defense 2, damage taken 3 to a single enemy for 2 turns on her basic, but it's got a cooldown, right? 3 turn cooldown, so it's not happening all the time. If she didn't have this, I wouldn't even put her S class. I'd put her at A class because she's doing AoE damage. Over here, she's got a little bit more of a single target damage dealer, increased damage taken, and then 100% to disrupt recovery. Now that I'm looking at this would be really good on a boss, and then also extremely good on the Frost Bear, where we're trying to block him from healing, and then we're doing that additional damage taken. So it's strong. I think she's a strong character. I just don't think she's as colorful as some of the other characters, but I would say somewhere around A or S to me. Her leader skill is one more issue. It says 25% chance to drain rate in all battles. Doesn't seem like it's doing anything. We have no idea what drain rate means, and usually when it says something like increases the chance to counterattack, you actually have to have counterattack for it to increase the chance. It's not just going to turn you into not counterattacking and now you do. So I think this drain rate, basically, if you have something to where you're leeching health, this will increase it. But I don't see her giving that. I don't know what's going on with that leader skill. Maybe it will get better. Guinevere gets so much hate, I don't understand why. This is the equivalent to Gawain. Gawain has AoE massive damage. This guy has single target massive damage. And at in-game, he's going to do speed clears for everyone. I know. I had him too in beta. He doesn't feel good at early game. That's why I have him at early game as an A, and then at skilled and booked, and then good gear with a little bit of crit, a whole bunch of critical damage with his critical damage lead. He's going to do insane damage in PvP and in PvE, going up to those boss battles and clearing out waves just single target wise, because this guy hits extremely hard. You're going to load it. He gets a crit rate buff of like 40% on himself. So you get him a little bit of crit. And then with this move right here, he can hit 2 other random enemies and you ignore a portion of defense. 2 random enemies also means that if you're fighting a boss and you hit the boss to proc this upon attack, right? You do your attack, you do your 1 attack, it hits the boss. These 2 random ones will also hit the boss, and they do a lot of damage. So this guy later on will be Extremely powerful. In PvP too, man, he's going to nuke people. He's just going to take them out. But right now, I understand he's hard to play, and I've tried to play him at early game too, and I was like, this guy's no good. No good at all. You just need a little bit of crit along with his crit rate buff, and you need a lot of critical damage along with his critical damage buff, and he's just going to light people up. Lancelot's in here as ARS because I haven't really been able to test him out. He does damage based off of his max HP. He has a stun on his second ability, like 70% chance to stun. He does a lot of things with weather conditions, and then he has on his third ability with 5 vigor, he has it to where you can take additional dot damage, like additional dot damage 3. I don't know how that's going to play along with people putting up dots. You'd have to have somebody putting up dots maybe on their basic, like Anguish, and then have this guy doing his 5 vigor cost to try to increase the dot damage. It would be massive. But for now, I just look at him as a really high bruiser because he does damage all based off his max HP. You put a lot of max HP on him. He's there to be in the fight for a long time and put out some damage. His damage modifiers don't look that bad. I mean, we're looking at good damage on a single target, pretty much the same as everybody else, a little bit, like a couple hundred less. He's got the single target here for 2,704. That's pretty damn good damage for a single target for 3 vigor. And then he's got an AoE move here hitting for almost 3,000. And if you compare him to the hardest hitting AoE for 5 vigor, legendary, Gawain down here at 13, we're looking at 4,000. So a little bit lower than him. It's really not that bad. I mean, that's pretty good AoE damage considering Gawain's all based off of attack. He won't be able to take that many hits, whereas Lancelot will be able to because he'll have a much higher HP pool to absorb those hits. Let me know about Lancelot if you've been playing him. Of course, we'll be testing all these heroes and we'll know more information later on. Sigrun, from what I've been hearing about people, her third ability is going off no matter what. It's an ability that's supposed to only happen if she's attacked. Ready for attack means that you get ready for an attack. It's only for one turn. So if the enemy is not attacking you, you could lose it. You could use 5 vigor. You could like set yourself up ready for attack. And then if they do not attack you, which most bosses do AoE, or in PvP, since you're provoking people, you taunt people a lot with her, they come in and attack her and then she fires off this ability. This ability hits extremely hard, more than Gawain. You can see over here that it hits for 5,281 AoE. That is massive. And let's ready for attack now is you wait one turn and then it happens. If that's the case, then you're basically 5 vigor. You're waiting one turn for this to fire off so somebody could, in PvP, go over there and stun you before you actually get it off. So maybe that's what it's doing. Maybe it is. Maybe that is exactly what it's doing. You just have to wait one turn once you kind of get it ready. You got a cast time for it now, and then it fires off and you do all that damage. I can't wait to get her because if she's doing this kind of damage, I'm ready to play her. She looks like a really cool unit. She has marked on her where she can do a mark debuff, which is really good to have on the dragon. Pretty much you need to have it at end game on the dragon because it stops the dragon from getting its buffs. So for now, I think she's really broken. Like I was saying about the provokes, if an ally is hit, she's got a chance to provoke someone and bring them over to her, which is extremely powerful in something like Arena. It's going to be great going through waves. It's not going to do anything against bosses, but right now, I think she looks pretty damn powerful. I haven't had a chance to test her, but if she does work this way, if she's always firing that off, if she does these provokes, if we're doing damage based off of defense with her, she could be SS class. She could be that good. That's Sigrun. Gillian. I'm going to have to say and retread what I've said before about Gillian. I don't think she's that great anymore. She used to be better. I just don't feel what I felt with her before. She has a single target heal, which is really good based off of her max HP. Another single target heal where she gets a chance to do decreased turn meter, which I think is terrible. If you're spending 3 vigor and you're a legendary, why have a 65% chance to do something? Doesn't make any sense to me. She does have this where we have an 80% chance if it's booked out to do turn meter reduction for 2 random enemies upon any attack. That's very strong because there's no cooldown on this. So we need some accuracy on her and we start doing turn meter reduction. I don't know if this was stronger in the previous betas because we could really slow down bosses with her. We could come in there and try to do this. We could just rely on the passive and do turn meter reduction. Now this will double up. Whenever it says 2 random enemies, that's awesome because then you've got 2 chances on a single enemy to lower the turn meter. Now, a lot of bosses later on have arms and legs, so they have additional turn meters on the side. You know, it's almost like 3 different entities if they have 2 arms, but we'll get a lot of turn meter reduction. And that's where she's supposed to be strong because she also does turn meter increase to your allies as well. So she's supposed to be slowing the enemy down, speeding you up, as well as getting you heals. Do I think that that's good right now for progression? I don't really notice it for progression, not at all. So that's why I'm kind of like A and S. I think at end game, again, if we can get all those skill books in there, we can really get that turn meter reduction going, slowing the enemy down so they don't take their turns, increasing so we do take our turns, and she's giving us heals, then yeah, I think it could be really amazing. But right now, I'm not noticing it because it takes 3 vigor for that and 5 vigor for this one. 5 vigor is we're not even going to use. That's like an attack move. We'll just be using the 3 vigor cost for heal or the basic attack for vigor and then turn meter reduction. There are a lot of rare healers who only have a 2 vigor cost. There's one that has a 1 vigor cost to do AoE healing. So for that lower vigor cost for all that healing just to get you through content, I think it might be better to go with a rare healer for now. It'll be much easier to manage with the low vigor cost. You're going to get just as much healing. You'll do healing on their basic as well. There's a lot of them. I'm going to do a whole video on the best healers in the game tonight. So look for that. But I do think she's great. I just think it's one of those things like Guinevere. Early game, it's kind of like an A. And then late game, we'll turn her into a beast. This guy, I'm not even going to comment on. He's new. I don't know anything about him. I looked at his abilities. I looked at his skills. I put some notes over here on the side. The 3rd passive buff that can be really strong. He's got a S3. His skill 3, if he uses it, he gets a buff. And he could be really strong with that. He's got counterattack trigger rate in all battles. 2 allies. Again, this does not give you counterattack. But if you have counterattack, and if this actually works with counterattack gear, then that will be insane. He will immediately be super, super broken just from this leader skill alone. 20% additional counterattack in all battles because we can get counterattack gear in this game, which is really good for healers as well because when healers counterattack, they heal people in that basic ability based off their max HP. And if this guy can increase the counterattack rate from just gear on and not people actually having the buff or the passive to counterattack, that's going to be nuts. So you guys let me know. I haven't pulled him yet. So for now, I just have needs testing. Claire is next on the list. Is she good? She used to be a rare. She was never a legendary. She doesn't have a leader skill like all the other legendaries do. She has a lot of moves that are very similar to Guinevere. Extremely, extremely similar to him. She does kind of similar damage, except she has an AoE on her second ability, where Guinevere just has single target, single target, single target. She's got an AoE here, which does pretty good damage, almost 2,000. And then she's got this 3-hit single target, which kind of does, what's Guinevere's damage? Right here at 5,000. So she's right there at that. She does 4,800, maybe somewhere around there. And she's another one that needs crit rate so that she can lower the cooldowns on her passives to keep doing more damage to multiple people. Kind of like Guinevere does those additional shots. She'll also attack another random enemy. And she's got no leader skill, which is very odd to me. They kind of just took her from a rare, made her a legendary. I guess they changed her coefficients, like the percentage of her attacks that we don't see behind the scenes. So maybe she hits really hard. Maybe she's doing great. I would prefer to use Guinevere because I know that he's got a better kit overall, but we're going to have to test her out. So I have no idea right now. I have her. I'm going to test her out. I'll let you know. But it's just odd that they take a hero that's so close to the skill set that Guinevere has, move her up from a rare into a legendary this time. It's very weird. Lot is next on our list, and I am not a big fan of Lot at all. He has this ability to do Oblivion, which stops people from using their passive abilities straight from Summoner's War, but it's not cool because it doesn't work on bosses. Does it work on players? Sure. Does it work on going through story mode and everything else? Yeah. But it's just not that cool because it's not working on bosses, and bosses have extremely powerful passives. If it did, it would be too powerful then. The other thing you can do is a buff on allies that lets them freeze, which I don't think is that cool either. You got a 30% chance to apply freeze whenever your guys that are with you attack. Big deal. I don't think that's exciting. He's got single target damage, single target damage. I got him as A. I might even take him down to B sometimes compared to a lot of other people. His damage is, fine. Nothing wrong with his damage. 3,000 right here for this 3 vigor cost single target. I do think his second ability hits very hard for 3,000 for 3 vigor. And he's got this team buff. But other than that, I am not super excited with him. 20% additional attack in all battles is nice to have. Passive increase in vigor to himself to get 0.5 additional vigor whenever an ally attacks. You got a chance for that. So you guys let me know about Lot. Again, I haven't had a chance to really play test him, but whenever I did play him before, early game, these will all change, right? We're talking about what we think are good right now for progression and what we've played to maybe like level 60 or 50 and done a lot of kind of in-game stuff, sort of, during beta, but we don't know what really is going to happen later on. But so far for Lot, Don't like it. Don't like it at all. Merlin is next on the list as S or SS class. This guy can do so much. I would definitely put him at SS class. Let's change that right now. I really think that Merlin has so much going on that he should be at SS class, maybe even SS class for PvP. This guy can revive your whole entire team. He can put up a debuff on the enemy for you to put up other debuffs on. A lot of things contingent upon weather conditions for his passives, but we're not even worried about that. That's just all icing on the cake right here when he uses his A3. Defense increase, recover overtime to all allies for 2 turns, 4-turn cooldown. That's fine. Still amazing. Defense increase 3 is like 80% probably. Recovery overtime for 2 turns. I mean, that's just nuts. Over here, when using his skill 3, current HP is 30% or higher. He can revive all allies and applies recover overtime for 4 turns. Of course, that's booked out, right? He can freeze somebody, which is like a stun, right? This is freeze them. That's it. Here, he can just attack one enemy and then has a 100% chance to apply frozen remains. Doesn't sound that great, does it? But whenever anybody attacks somebody with frozen remains, he can put damage taken 2 on them. So they're taking like 50% additional damage because damage taken 3 was 80%. So maybe this is like 50. I didn't check the numbers yet. Damage immunity to a single enemy for 2 turns and 50% chance to trigger attack gauge increase of 90%. That's pretty wild. That sounds just too overpowered. Frozen remains when hit. If this is how it's happening, you got a 100% chance to do increased damage taken to them for 2 turns. You got a chance to get attack gauge increase on your person of 90%. Maybe that's just to him from other people attacking, or maybe it's just to that person attacking, whoever you put this debuff on. Either way, it's completely ridiculous. And then when you cast that second ability, that's when we get that other stuff happen. When you cast this third ability, this is where we can get a revive going on, and you got a 70% chance to freeze all enemies. PvP monster. That's got to be. Let's put him the SS class here in PvP as well, because not only are you going to freeze everybody because you got a 70% chance on 2 hits, you're also going to revive everybody if there's anybody dead, as long as you're over 30% HP. Now, you only get to do this 1 time ever, but still 4-turn recovery over time. Very, very powerful. We do this ability, we put the remains on, and we also do this ability, which happens every 4 turns. I think he's great. I think he's going to be a lot of fun. If you guys don't think he's SS class, let me know. Maybe he's just S. I know a lot of people aren't excited when they get her. I have her at A to S because I think that she can be very powerful on this second ability. The second ability has a chance to give your whole entire team evasion rate 2, which is 40% chance to evade, which means you do not take any damage. I've faced her in arena. It's very annoying. It's a 2 vigor cost if you can get it down. So being that you can put books into this, get it down to a 2 vigor cost, and get that increase rate up to be able to proc this, you're applying it every turn. Every turn. Remove dots, evasion. Going to be crazy on Gorgos to remove these dots and to have invasion up to where you're not even being hit. You don't take any damage. And you remove debuffs, which debuffs are like the decreased defense, decreased attack. Those are different than dots, but she's doing dots as well. Pretty amazing once you have her booked out. When you don't have her booked out, 3 vigor cost, not as many removals, but you still get that evasion up, I think, for 2 turns. Yeah, 2 turns is still up. It's pretty annoying. It's really annoying when I played it in arena, and I think that's the only thing I really like about her. The rest of these things you'd have to check out. I don't remember what other kind of notes I put on here. 60% chance to gain a massive buff on her skill 2. That's without the books, what we were just talking about. The dot immunity to team for 1 turn is kind of meh on her skill 3 because 1 turn means that your allies could take a turn before they're even hit with dots, and it would drop off them. Booked out, she also has a passive of a 60% chance to extend buffs on allies for 2 turns. Now that also is really strong. If you can extend buffs for 2 turns when an ally's hit every 2 turns. Every 2 turns this passive will fire off at a 60% chance to extend all the buffs that you have on your team for 2 turns. I like her, and I could see the potential for her to be S-class. I do think against Gorgos and against a lot of other bosses, she's going to be extremely strong. Baiting, not taking damage, PvP, I already fought her there. She's very annoying. So I think she's worth it. It's just a lot of people don't like to see her, but I think she's definitely going to be worth it. Gawain is our AoE damage dealing beast. At least he used to be. Do I think he's as strong as he was before or as awesome as he was before? People are saying that they still love this guy, that he's doing amazing things. He does procs on himself to give himself additional attack, which is great because it just keeps ramping up his damage. He has 2 AoE abilities. His second AoE ability does 2,400 His third does 4,000, a little over that for 5 vigor. So it's going to hit hard. It's hitting hard than most other people. But I will say that Arthur, if you buy his frost weapon, is hitting for 3,000 for 4 vigor. He's hitting for 4,000 for 5 vigor. So I think Arthur's frost weapon is a little bit broken. I would not spend $20 to get it. I'm sure we're going to unlock the frost weapon in probably chapter 10. So I'm not spending money just to get. I've got Gawain at level 1. I can't wait to level him up. I do want to try him out. He's only got 20% additional attack in the world tree and in this sanctuary, but he's a beast. People are skipping turns. They're getting back to him as quickly as possible, and they're just blowing up campaign as they go through it. Guinevere I do have, and Guinevere I am using. She is probably one of the strongest people on my team. She still does buffs to the whole entire team based off of her max HP. It costs 3 vigor. Is she as strong as she used to be? Nowhere near as strong as she used to be. Do I still think she's great? I do. I really think that this ability is strong, though I will say this. Last beta, when we had healers, and we kept giving our healers more and more HP, and they could heal for more and more as we went through the game, I really felt like I didn't need her anymore. She was so strong then, like much stronger then, and I just felt like with the healers I had, it was okay. But I do feel like healers are weaker now too. I feel like she's weaker now, and then also the healing that we're getting from our healers isn't as strong. So it's hard for me to judge, but I feel like at late game, I'm not going to really need to use her. I'm going to use her because I'm leveling her up along with my other healer. But if I just had 2 healers in there to kind of cheat through content, to keep healing, and having my guys put up damage over time or doing damage with my anguish, just doing damage over time on his basic, I still feel like I could get through the same exact content. Does she have really cool abilities? Yeah, remove all buffs. Here, this actually hits really hard. It's another ready for combat move, just like Sigrun, and she does hit really hard on this. So I kind of like that I have somebody that can also nuke, that I'm bringing up, that can get the shields on my people. And then she's got some other cool abilities to where she won't die, to where she'll get this invincibility buff, and it's every 4 turns. So once she gets this invincibility, puts up these shields, takes care of herself and the team, then you can get her up, keep her alive for 4 turns, and she can do this over again if she were to get like really hard hit. This was really cool too that I haven't seen happen. I've got her up to level, maybe I've got to take her up to rank 6 to unlock this. But I used to notice this all the time in previous beta. When hit while you have a shield on, applies increased defense and increased attack to all allies for 3 turns. Once you have it booked out, and I think I had her booked out, or I had her kind of slow and the enemy was fast. This is a passive, and there's no cooldown on this passive. So once you can do this, if the enemy is attacking you over and over and over, which they all do, like Gorgos, especially with his multiple arms, you get all these attacks in there. I was looking at my heroes, and my heroes would have about 5 or 6 different increased attack, increased defense buff. And I thought it was kind of a bug at first, and then I read over this skill, and if it's on a 3-turn cooldown, and then the enemy keeps attacking you, this can be broken. Very broken, because these stack up. I don't think they're additive. I think they're multiplicative, but still, over time, having these all on your heroes really adds up. So Guinevere is by far, of course, still SS class, no doubt. Tristan. Tristan has always been the lame duck. I don't know what's going on with this guy. Like I said back in beta, maybe we just got to have really high attack speed to know if this guy's going to do well, because all his moves are based off of damage, based off of speed. All right, no problem. He gives himself speed, damage based off of speed. That's cool. But the way he gets all these additional hits, you see this additional hit if somebody has protection on, this one additional hits if the enemy has protection on. So we fight anyone with protection on all the time. Okay, Tristan's going to do decent. Maybe if we get really high attack speed, Tristan's going to be amazing. But right now, early game, mid game, nobody was seeing that happen. So we'll have to see what's going on with Tristan. But I would not spend resources on leveling up Tristan. Even if I'm free to play or a low spender and all I have is Tristan, I would rather go for some other heroes. Any other heroes other than Tristan. I'm sorry to say that, but you guys change my mind if you want. Go ahead. You tell me and you change my mind, and I'll level up my Tristan as soon as I can, as soon as I start, really getting the resources in to level up all these heroes. But right now, I'm not seeing it. But that's what I've got for all the legendaries. You guys let me know your thoughts down below, of course. I hope I did a good job of explaining everything to you and going over all of this, and maybe you have a better idea of what heroes you want to target for a reroll or what heroes you want to focus on leveling up. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I appreciate your time. I will see you all in a video soon.